Good morning everybody, Jake here with Climb Time Photography. So for today's little adventure, we're going to be doing a walkthrough of the tailgate build I did with the storage compartment right here. It was the request of Jason Chavez on my part 2 F-150 walk around video with the Ford being painted. We were down in, I think that trip we were down in Anza Borrego. So thank you, Jason Chavez, and as requested, here's the video. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for your comment and feedback and everything like that. It's much appreciated. But as for everybody else, when it comes to comments and everything like that, I do read them. I really enjoyed the feedback and everything that you guys have kind of offered for advice and everything like that. I try and read, like I said, almost all of them and try to reply as soon as I can. Sometimes I'm out in the middle of nowhere and don't exactly have cell reception, so it does make it a little hard sometimes. Oh, speaking of which, follow through this video to the whole end. I have a little sneak peek of something else I got working on here. But coming back to the comments and videos, like I said, I really enjoy everything that you guys have offered advice, and you know, and I really enjoy the YouTube community, and I'm a big do-it-yourselfer, so lo and behold, YouTube's not a bad place for me. I will say, when it comes to videos like this where it's kind of like a DIY, I'm trying to make my videos a lot more entertaining and trying to improve my quality of the videos that I'm giving you to the viewers and everything like that. So I'm working on it, trying to make them more entertaining and everything like that. When it comes to videos like this where it's like DIY and stuff like that, I am going to try and provide the most information to you that I possibly can. So the video may end up being 15 minutes, it may end up being 30 minutes, this video may end up being only 10 minutes or 20 or whatever, but it basically however long is however long it's going to be. You know, I want to make sure that I give you as much information as I possibly can. Basically for my videos, I look at it from your perspective, like what kind of questions would I ask if I'm looking at this video? What are some things I would think about or want to know from a video like this, especially do-it-yourself video, because the more information you have, the better it's going to go for you. So if they're a little lengthy, I'm sorry, but at the same time, I'm going to try and get you as much information as you possibly need. So with that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, prep work is obviously key for a project like this. If you're even considering doing this, make sure you take your tailgate off your truck. Yeah, you're probably going to end up having to grind out like a panel like this. The last thing you want to do is catch your truck on fire. Some of the carpet that comes in the shells, like all up in here and all down here, is very flammable. So do yourself a favor and pull your tailgate off before you start cutting into it and anything like that. Second thing, if you can, try to find a schematic or a breakdown of what it looks like in the inside of your tailgate before you try this project. That way you have an idea of what you're getting yourself into. I had a basic idea. I knew that getting into this project that this was a very large open space all the way down, and all my latches and everything else were going to be separated because there's a metal plate that goes all the way across this panel right here that separates my cargo from my latches and tailgate latches and handles and everything like that. So that's really good information to have if you can have it. Another thing, third thing, is I don't know if I'd recommend doing this for a tailgate that has a backup camera or any type of electrical sensors going into the tailgate right here. This obviously is not a newer truck, so I have no idea where the wiring goes or anything like that. I don't know if it goes on the inside. I have no idea if it goes on the outside, but think about that if you're going to do this like on a truck that has like a backup camera or anything like that. So So some things to think about. All right, so let's dive into it. So what I ended up doing was I kind of mapped out how I wanted to do it first. So when this tailgate was factory, and to kind of give you a walkthrough of what it looked like before, check out like a 2001 F-150 tailgate and you can kind of get an idea of what it looked like. But if you see this ridge right here, I had those going all the way across, all the way down on the tailgate. Now I knew from past experience that walking on this isn't very comfortable, and walking on the channels isn't very comfortable either. And I knew that I was going to be camping out of the back of my truck, and I was going to be getting in and out of my truck quite a bit. So I wanted to have a flat space right here that I could not only step on, but I could also put storage into as well. That'd be a little bit more comfortable. Because we use this, we're camping, we use this space for everything. We use this space for cooking. We use this space for throwing our shoes onto. I use this for working on stuff. Like when I had to replace the wheel bearing on my truck recently, I was working on it right here, you know. I was taking parts. I use this tailgate probably more than I use my table because it's easy to get to. And that was another reason why I wanted to build this compartment as well, was because this right here is easy storage. You know, I basically put down my tailgate, I flip this latch, and then there you go. I have, you know, tools here. I have my extension cords. I have a tarp right here, and then I have a little hammock over here. So it's very easy access. It's very easy to get to. You know, I don't have to pull open drawers or anything like that, which I love my deck drawer system. It works good, but I just kind of like this right here. Now, when you're coming to other things to think about, the plating I used for this was, I want to say it was like 3/16. It wasn't very thick, but this is where it kind of just depends on your tailgate design, and that's why it's good to know your schematics. For example, like this is all open space in here. I don't have any supports going across right here or anything. It's completely open. So I knew that I had to use a thicker plate because I was going to be standing on top of this, and I didn't want obviously this to fall in. So what I did was I cut it out, cut it all the way across, and then I used a plate and then brought it all the way out to the edges right here. Let me give you guys a little bit of a better view. So I brought the plate all the way out to the corners right here. There's a little bit of an overlap right here, just that way the plate has something to sit on. So you can kind of see it right here, and that way when the panel comes down and rests, it has an area to rest on right here. Now the other thing I could have done was I probably could have gave myself a little bit of extra room, like right here, instead of coming all the way up against to the this plate right here where you take off to get to all your latches and stuff. I probably could have left myself some extra room right here just for added strength. So if I would have done it again, I probably would have left myself a little bit of extra gap right here. That way the plate had another surface to lie flat down on. So, and I'll show you what I mean right here. I'm going to take off this weather stripping and kind of show you. So see that right there? See that gap? Is pretty much almost flush to this panel right here. So if I could do this again, I probably would have, like I said, not cut so much and maybe left myself like a 1/4 inch right here all the way across, and that way this had something else to sit on instead of corners. As well as with this tailgate, I have a divider right here. So you see this right here, this separates everything. So it separates my cargo or tools and everything like that from all the mechanisms of inside the tailgate. Because that's the last thing you want, is some of your tools getting mixed up in some of your stuff that you need to open up your tailgate. because that's all bad. Okay, and since I pulled it off, we're going to talk about the next thing, the weather stripping. This you can get on Amazon. It's pretty easy to come by. Looks like that. Has your channel. This is where your the metal plate goes into. Then it has your rubber side right over here. This really does kind of not only help to make it look a little cleaner, but also provides a little bit of extra like soft closing function as well. So instead of it being just metal hitting metal right here, it kind of helps to soften it a little bit. And if you do it correctly, it can also kind of help to seal up your compartment a little bit better as well. So what I mean is now when I close it, a little bit more of a sealed compartment. And I just, like I said, I really like the look of it too. It really just kind of helps to kind of complete the look of like it being clean, if you will. Now when it comes to latches right here, these latches I literally just got at Home Depot. Really easy to do. Run some bigger screws, but basically just lift them up, your nuts are here, and then the other ones are down there. And there's enough tension on these as well to where they will keep themselves locked. I don't have to put a pin or anything else in there because there's plenty of tension just to keep them locked. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the hinge. So this hinge right here, I think I got it like Hank's Hardware. Very easy to install. It was originally, I think, like a foot too long, so what I did was I cut it right here, left a little bit of the rod left, and then hammered it to kind of round it off a little bit, and that way the rod, while I was driving off-roading, wasn't going to slip out of the hinge. And then I did that for both sides just to make sure it wasn't going to slip out. Another option that you probably could do is you might be able to maybe find like a hinge that you could weld on. I did this before I could weld, and then you could weld on like a hinge all the way across. But chances are you probably have to use separate hinges and then stagger them all the way across. I don't know how that would do, because it seems like when you have a solid hinge that goes all the way across, the opening and closing of the door is a lot smoother. Whereas if you separate them, I feel like you probably have a lot more shifting in your door. Right now though, this doesn't shift at all. It's really rigid on there and it does not move. Another option that you can do is, instead of using nuts, you could probably use rivets. The only problem with both options is that, and I found this out, is you start to have some of your tools snag onto the nuts on the bottom of your compartments, because I have a nut here that attaches the hinge, and then I have a nut here that attaches the hinge. So either option you go, you're probably going to have that problem. That's why the only reason I was thinking the welding option might be a little bit better. Now, coming back to your latches, when you're placing your latches, if you have like any type of compartments that come out or anything like that, make sure that you offset them to where you're going to be able to access them and get to them when you have your drawers and stuff like that. That way you don't have to worry about them being under here and then, you know, you opening it up and then maybe the drawer ends up hitting the latch or anything like that. You know, make sure you put them off to the side. Another thing to think about too is I did one large compartment, so that's the only problem with doing it like this is, let's say I open this up, right? But I want to get into my tailgate because I need, you know, a tool out of there. You know, I can't really get in there. So another option that you could do, and this was something else that I thought of later on, was you could separate it. You know, maybe cut your plate in half here and then have this be one side of the storage compartment and this be the other side of the storage. This is all hypothetical because I didn't obviously try it either, because I thought about this after I finished this. But that way, like let's say if I open up this drawer right here, I could still open up that side if I wanted to. But I'm giving you ideas just in case this whole like large compartment doesn't work for your application. And then another idea that you could do theoretically is, and I don't know how this would work, but this is just throwing it out there, is you can also maybe just do a one-sided compartment where you have just your plate all the way covered here, and then you just do one compartment right here. Then you could theoretically, if you wanted to, just shove all your stuff back into that corner right there, but it would kind of be a pain in the butt to get to. Alright, now another thing. Typically, we know in the off-road community is when you change one thing, typically you end up having to change at least 2, 3, 4 other things. So, with that being said, when you start adding weight and items to the back of your tailgate like that, and start using it as a storage compartment, which it obviously was not initially designed for, your tailgate starts getting a lot heavier. This tailgate, if I had to guess, probably weighs in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 pounds now. So that is one drawback of doing this, is your tailgate's going to go a lot heavier. But there is a way that you can at least kind of help yourself with that a little bit. And that is installing these right here. These are, I think they're called Easy Tailgate hydraulic pistons or something like that. You can find them on Amazon for just about any vehicle nowadays. Alright, now we're going to open it. Completely hands-free. The closing goes a lot smoother and the opening does as well. And because our tailgate is a little heavier, when we're in the back sleeping, that's also why I added this little strap right here. So the way that works is that comes down right here. I just added a simple U-bracket, I think it is, and then just ran a leash down here, and then when we're up in the bed, I can just grab this and then pull this up, as opposed to having to reach down this way and grab the tailgate from here and then pull it up to go to sleep at night. Alright, and then one more good little additive that you can do, and I'm sure a couple people have probably ran across this problem when they're off-roading and they're sleeping in the back, is I had problems with water getting into my sleeping area in between my tailgate and then the truck bed. There's usually a little gap right here. So what you can do to fix that is you can get weather stripping. You put weather stripping all on the side right here, and then you put another strip of weather stripping right here. This, you can, like I said, another thing, get it on Amazon. Super easy to install. It had 3M tape basically on both sides, I believe, and then you just stick it on and then just run it all the way across, and then it basically creates a seal for your for the back of your truck bed. And now when you're going through water or anything like that, water splashing up underneath your truck, you don't have to worry about it getting into your sleeping area at all, which is not good. Any questions on anything else on the truck that you want me to do videos on, let me know. As far as the hint that I was going to do earlier, I'm going to be doing a video pretty shortly on the dual battery system I built. That's going to be, I think, a blast. I've had the system in there, I think, for about 3 months now, but I also wanted to make sure that everything was working flawlessly, because the last thing I want to do is give you, the viewers, any type of false information when I haven't tested it out thoroughly myself, because I really wanted to test out my dual battery system and make sure everything's working the way it should be. And I also know that they're very common. A lot of people are, more and more people are getting into them, especially if you're running, fridges, Dometic fridges, ARB fridges. That's primarily one of the big reasons why I had to install one in my truck, was because I didn't want my fridge, my Dometic fridge, running off of my starter battery. For obvious reasons, I didn't want it to kill the battery. So yeah, next video I think I'm going to be coming up is going to be a dual battery system video. So really excited for that. I'm really excited to give you guys all the information about it, how it went, the process, and everything like that. They're really not that super hard to figure out. You just kind of have to have a good idea of wiring, and then you know, make sure you don't go cheap on certain electronics. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions. Later.